Hello and welcome to the Autocar show. Now, a very important comparison over here today. The city, once a favorite in the segment, lost some of its sparkle over the years, mainly due to the fact that it didn't have a diesel engine. And once the rivals came in, it really felt under-equipped and overpriced. But the city's come back in a new avatar, blazing guns. With good levels of localization, it's helped it have a very sharp price. It's feature-packed, and of course now it has that diesel engine under its hood as well. So that's the comparison we're doing today, the diesel city against the others in its segment. Now, Hyundai have also recently updated the Verna to match up with the city. So we've got the updated Verna, we have the city, and the two German siblings, the Vento and the Rapid. Let's see how the city fares in this fight. Heads up, the two German siblings lose out as far as the fashion parade goes. They look too plain and pallid, whilst the Japanese and the Korean look more smart and stylish. The new city is almost similar in looks to the outgoing one, but the few nips and tucks have made it keep up with the times, and it's still a smart-looking car. But the top honors really go to Hyundai's fluidic design on the Verna. And now, to take on the city, there have been a few changes too. The top-end models are getting new design alloy wheels, projector headlamps, LED daytime running lights, and illuminated switches inside the cabin. So by all counts, as far as looks go, the Verna is a winner. Now on the interior, it's pretty much the same story as the exterior. Though the German cars are built much better than the other two, and the interior materials are good quality, the designs of the dash look out of an IKEA catalogue compared to the other two. They also lack the equipment levels of the city and the Verna. Now, if asked to choose between these two, we would go with the slightly more upmarket interiors of the Vento. The steering wheel is leather, the gear lever has chrome on it, and the Volkswagen offers the widest range of adjustments for the driver's seat. In fact, these are the only two that offer reach and rake adjustment for the steering wheel. The City and the Verna offer only rake adjustment. In fact, before we move on, let's take a look at the variants and the equipment levels. Now, off the lot, it was always the Verna that impressed us with the interiors. You know, looks nice, feels airy, well laid out dash, feature equipped, and the front seats extremely comfortable. The Verna has also upped the levels of equipment from before, which will be available on the CX model to take on the city. It borrows the automatic climate control, the electrically adjustable and foldable wing mirrors with turn indicators, the 2-DIN audio system with Bluetooth compatibility, steering-mounted audio controls, electrochromatic rear-view mirror, rear parking sensors with a camera, ABS and driver-side airbags from the higher SX variant. Now, the complaint with the earlier city was really about the interiors. It felt a little sparse, people felt it was minimally equipped, but all that's changed now. It's actually really nice on the interior over here. There's a lot of new equipment. You have the touch buttons for the AC controls, which are really nice. You have the music system, the info display over here, and you also have a CD player now. You have aux, you have power outlets, so literally much better equipped than before. Also in this bunch, it's the only one when matched spec for spec has the sunroof. The silver tee across the dash and the ebony piano glossy plastic adds to the interior. The instruments are large and clear and have rings that glow blue or green depending on your driving style. There's a nice chunky steering with controls, and equipment levels are way better than before. For one, the music system now comes with a CD player along with DVD support with Bluetooth and aux in. A 5-inch screen is the interface for the music system, whilst the air-conditioned system is operated via a touch panel. The seats are also really comfortable, and driving long durations in the city will be easy. Though it's down to the wire between the city and the Verna, with the Verna having the lower dash and aiding visibility, it's a few things like the touchscreen for the AC, the fact that it has a sunroof, and the larger 510-litre boot, which give the city the edge. Now let's take a look at the diesel motors under the hood and what they have to offer. The Verna has the best figures on paper, but if you look a little closer, you will find that the smaller powered Germans put out almost as much torque, and you can feel that out on the road. The Vento's engine really the punchiest of the lot, pulls cleanly off the line, and then after about 1500 RPM you get this nice surge of torque which you can ride all the way to the red line. But it's really the healthy mid-range of the engine which makes it feel very nice and punchy. Lift off, put your foot down, and you just have power. And even when you're just ambling around in the city, higher gears, lower RPMs, slow down, put your foot down, picks up, moves on. So very drivable as well. With the strong mid-range, when you first drive the car, you think this is probably quicker than the Rapid. But that's really not the case. The battle is close to the 100 mark between the Vento and the Rapid, and the Vento edges by just tenths of a second. But in the in-gear slogs, the Rapid is definitely quicker. 20 to 80, the Rapid does in 8.68, whereas the Vento does 9.24 seconds. And the 40 to 100 for the Rapid comes up in 9.70, whereas the Vento does it in 10.50 seconds. The Rapid just does the acceleration in a more linear manner and so is deceptive. Now let's take a look at all the acceleration figures and in-gear figures together. Well, it's plain to see that though the Verna has the quicker 0 to 100, that doesn't really help it in real-world conditions. And that's because its in-gear acceleration is actually closer to the city than the two Germans, which are way ahead. And this is because of the lag. Now, whilst the Verna is not the strongest contender on the performance front, where it's miles ahead of the rest is on refinement. This engine is definitely, by far, the most refined of the lot. The Verna also has a light and easy-to-use gearbox. Now, the one that feels a little short of breath, it's the City. It hits a very early 4000 RPM red line, and in this race, it feels short on power. But that's only when you make a comparison. When you drive it on its own, you're never left wanting, and with hardly any turbo lag, it's extremely drivable in traffic conditions. It's responsive even under the 2000 RPM mark, and the linearity of the torque curve makes it ideal in the city, which is what it's named after. And this drivability is apparent from the in-gear figures we showed you earlier. It's close to the Verna in the 20 to 80 and actually quicker on the 40 to 100 slog. There is one big downside though, and that is the engine noise that filters through almost constantly to the cabin. And in comparison to the rest, it becomes even more evident. But where the City loses out on refinement, it does really well in dealing with our dilapidated roads. Now at low speeds, the City's got a nice supple edge, and even as you gain speed, it maintains its composure. There's not a lot of vertical movement. So overall, the back seat of the City is a really comfortable place to be. Even in terms of space, it's a winner. Well, there's loads of space here in the backseat of the City. Legroom is ample, the bench is nice and wide. If there's something to complain about, it's a little bit of a lack of headroom. Tall people might find it a little short. But the seats are supremely comfortable and you have everything you want. You've got the rear armrest, you've got the cup holders, you even got rear aircon vents, which in the heat make it very comfortable. The City has a good level of composure around the corners and even at high speeds. The steering is light and easy in traffic condition and weighs up well at higher speeds, but it doesn't inspire the kind of confidence that the Vento and Rapid offer. Now, when you're driving at low speeds and you are in the City, the Skoda Rapid steering feels a little heavier than that of the Vento. The Vento in comparison is light and easy in the city, but at higher speeds it weighs up better than the Rapid, giving you a little extra feel. Though they're really closely matched in terms of handling, the cornering, it's the Rapid that really feels the best. Body control is good, feels very much together, and it's actually the one that inspires the most confidence around the corners. Both are incredibly stable at speed and have plenty of grip. It's a very close call between the City and the Rapid when it comes to dealing with the roads, but I think it's the Rapid that has the slightly better edge as far as ride quality is concerned. It's just so flat, it's so composed that it does away with the bumps and potholes in a manner that makes it very distant to the passenger, and that's what makes it feel really good. And the two German siblings are almost identical. And if you look at things like the armrest and the cup holders, you know that the parts are the same in both the cars. Even the seats are better cushioned and feel nicer than the Vento. With Hyundai having worked on the suspension, the ride quality is a lot improved from before. At low speeds, it deals with the bumps and potholes quite well. But at higher speeds, it still has that bit of vertical movement. It gets caught out by sharper bumps and potholes, and it still is not quite in the league of the Rapid and the City. The suspension still does run out of travel over sharper bumps, and this results in a painful thunk as the dampers compress fully and hit the bump stops. Now, whilst in the other cars, we really didn't hear that noise of the suspension through that sharp ridge, in the Verna you do. The sharper bumps and potholes catch it out most definitely. I tested all the cars over exactly the same patch, so it was really easy to discern. Now what you notice first in the back seat of the Verna is the fact that you sit much lower than in the other cars. The window line feels a lot higher, and the seats themselves, you know, being scooped out in the center, feel quite low, and even for someone as short as me, I'm still in a knees up position. The improvements have definitely bettered the Verna from before and have cured the old car's nervousness at speed, its floatiness and tendency to bottom out. The steering also has more weight and the low-speed ride remains good. Now, although the steering feels well weighted, it just doesn't have a consistency. So it doesn't give you the most secure of feelings around the corner. Now, though the Verna has improved itself way more than before, as far as handling and backseat comfort go, it still doesn't quite match up to the rest. Well, we've pretty much covered everything except for the main reason that you bought a diesel, the daily dip into the wallet. How efficient are these cars? So Honda really meant it when they said this was the most efficient diesel in its segment. The City is ahead of the rest. Well, it's a closely fought battle between all these cars, and especially the two German siblings. They're just so similar in so many ways. Now, even though the Vento has a nice punchy engine, it's really the Rapid that shines out overall. It's quicker, the engine is more drivable, and there's that ride quality which is really, really nice. Of course, these two cars lose out because of the lack of their equipment and of course their plain Jane looks. Coming to the Verna, it is a hot looking car. Interiors are really nice, it gives you that premium feel. It performs pretty decently too, but it's let down by the ride quality in the back seat and of course the fact that it doesn't handle too well. So when we're looking for a car, you know, each one of these has its strength somewhere or the other. But when we're looking for a car that's an overall package, something that combines everything really well, it's the City that does it best. Of course, it has a weak link, and that's the engine. It's noisy and it doesn't perform as well as the others. But that's only when you compare it. Standing alone, you never really lack the power. And then, of course, it looks good. It has nice interiors, it's well equipped, it's spacious, it's comfortable, it handles and rides well, and it's fuel efficient too. Of course, there's the big one, it's now well priced. So, if we had to pick a winner in this bunch, it's the City.